Tonight's story is I found money in my apartment every day until it wanted something back. Let's begin. The first time Marcus found money in his apartment, he thought someone had broken in. $300 bills, crisp, new, arranged in a perfect fan on his kitchen counter. He stood frozen in the doorway of his studio apartment, grocery bags cutting into his palms. The cash just sat there, waiting. His hands shook as he checked the windows. Locked. The door showed no signs of forced entry. He lived on the 4th floor. No fire escape, no balcony. Just him and that persistent drip from the bathroom faucet he couldn't afford to fix. Drip, drip, drip. Marcus picked up the bills with 2 fingers like they might burn him. Paper crinkled between his fingertips. Real. Definitely real. He could smell the ink, fresh and chemical. He counted them 3 times, then shoved them into his wallet and tried to forget about it. Tried. The second time, a week later, it was $500, tucked under his pillow. He'd slept on top of it all night. Marcus's skin crawled as he held the bills up to the morning light. His mouth tasted like copper, like fear. He tore through the apartment, checking every corner, every closet. The space under his bed where dust bunnies congregated in the darkness. Nothing. No one. The door's deadbolt was still engaged from the inside. The chain still fastened. He ran his fingers over the lock mechanism. No scratches, no tampering. Impossible. He sat on the edge of his bed, the bills spread across his comforter, and tried to think rationally. Maybe he'd been sleepwalking. Maybe he'd withdrawn the cash and forgotten. But his bank account showed no withdrawals. His balance remained at $47.18, the same pathetic number it had been for 3 months. The money just sat there, crisp and inexplicable and wrong. Marcus used it to pay his overdue electric bill. The alternative was sitting in the dark. He'd had enough of that growing up, enough darkness to last a lifetime. The third time, he found $1,000 rolled up inside his coffee canister. He hadn't opened that canister in 3 days. The money hadn't been there before. He was certain, almost certain. The edges of his certainty were starting to fray, unraveling like the cuffs of his work shirts, like the lining of his cheapest winter coat. That night, Marcus lay awake in the darkness, listening. The apartment building settled and groaned around him. Pipes clanked somewhere in the walls. Someone's television murmured through thin plaster. The refrigerator hummed its monotonous song, clicking on and off in steady rhythm. And something else, something underneath it all, breathing. Not his own. He held perfectly still, counting his own breaths. 1, 2, 3. The other sound continued, separate from him. Too slow, too measured, like someone savoring the air, tasting it, drawing it deep into lungs that shouldn't exist. Marcus's hand fumbled for his phone, clicked on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating his sparse furniture, his second-hand everything. The water stain on the ceiling that looked like a reaching hand, fingers spread wide. Nothing. The breathing stopped. Silence pressed against his eardrums. The refrigerator hummed. The faucet dripped, drip, drip, drip. He lay there for hours, phone clutched to his chest, staring at the darkness. He didn't sleep that night, or the next, or the one after that. By the 4th appearance of money, $1,500 this time, stacked neatly in his sock drawer, each bill facing the same direction, Marcus had developed a theory. It was insane, but sanity had become negotiable. Something was living in his apartment. Something he couldn't see. Something that moved through spaces too small for movement, that existed in the gaps between walls, that watched him from corners where light refused to reach. And it was paying rent. The thought should have terrified him. It did terrify him. His heart hammered every time he entered his apartment now. His palms sweated. His breath came shallow and quick. But terror was expensive. And Marcus had spent his whole life being poor. 26 years of checking price tags, of choosing between groceries and medication, of wearing shoes with holes in them because new ones cost $60 he didn't have. $60 that might as well have been $6,000. The money kept coming. He started finding it everywhere. In his jacket pockets, behind books on his shelf. Once, impossibly, inside a sealed box of cereal. The plastic inner bag, still factory sealed, but there it was. $200 folded into a tight square. Always cash, always crisp bills that smelled faintly of something he couldn't identify, something organic and wrong. Like mushrooms growing in a dark place. Like soil and decay and growth all mixed together. Marcus used it. God help him, he used it. He paid off his credit cards. The relief when he hit that final payment button, $3,000 of debt gone, just gone. He bought new clothes, shirts that didn't have frayed collars, jeans without holes, got his car fixed. The mechanic had looked at him strangely when he'd paid in cash, but Marcus didn't care. The constant knot of anxiety in his chest loosened. He started sleeping better, eating better. For the first time in his adult life, he didn't wake up at 3 a.m. calculating expenses, trying to figure out how to stretch $73 until Friday. But the breathing sounds got louder. Not much, just enough to notice. The rhythm changed, became more satisfied, more present. Like whatever made that sound was settling in deeper, getting comfortable. And Marcus started noticing other things. His apartment was always exactly 72 degrees, no matter the season. He checked the thermostat constantly. It never changed. Outside, the temperature dropped into the 40s, frost forming on car windows. Inside, 72, perfect and unchanging. The refrigerator stayed stocked with food he didn't remember buying, always his favorites: strawberry yogurt, the expensive kind with real fruit, fresh bread, deli meat that wasn't even on sale. He'd open the fridge and there it would be, arranged neatly. Expiration dates always days away. Never spoiled, never wrong. His clothes appeared clean and folded in his drawers. Even the ones he'd left crumpled on the floor, he'd drop a shirt, turn around, turn back. It would be gone. 3 hours later, it would be in his drawer, perfectly folded, smelling like lavender detergent he'd never bought. Something was taking care of him. Something wanted him comfortable. Marcus tried to convince himself it was fine, tried to ignore the way his skin prickled when he was alone, that constant sensation of being watched, of eyes on him from somewhere he couldn't pinpoint. He'd spin around suddenly, trying to catch it. Nothing. Just his apartment, just his things, just that breathing, always there beneath everything else. He'd grown up in foster care, bounced between houses where he was a burden, a mouth to feed, a problem to solve, too many kids, too little money, too much resentment. He'd learned early that comfort was conditional, that care came with strings, that safety could be revoked without warning. This thing, whatever it was, wanted him here, wanted him fed and warm and safe. Wasn't that better than the alternative? Wasn't that better than being cold and hungry and alone? 3 months in, he found $20,000. Marcus opened his bedroom door and stopped. Couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It was arranged in neat stacks on his bed, covering the entire mattress like a paper quilt. $100 bills. Fresh and crisp and perfect. Organized in rows. Precise, too precise. $20,000. His heart hammered against his ribs so hard it hurt. The sound of his own pulse filled his ears, thrumming, pounding. He backed out of the bedroom, his shoulder hitting the door frame. The apartment suddenly felt smaller, the walls pressing inward. How long had it been since he'd really looked at his space, really paid attention? The corners seemed darker than they should be, shadows pooling in places where light should reach. The ceiling felt lower, the air thicker, like breathing through gauze. "What do you want?" His voice cracked on the words, too loud in the silence. Nothing. Just the refrigerator humming. The faucet dripping, drip, drip, drip. Then so quiet he almost missed it. A sound like satisfaction, like something settling deeper into place. A wet sound, organic. The sound of roots pushing into soil, of things growing where they shouldn't. Marcus grabbed his keys and ran. He drove to a coffee shop 3 miles away, sat in the bright, crowded space, surrounded himself with noise and people and the smell of burnt espresso. His hands shook so badly he spilled his first cup. The hot liquid splashed across the table. A barista brought napkins, looking concerned. "You okay?" "Fine, I'm fine." The words came out wrong, too fast, too high. He pulled out his phone and started searching. Haunted apartments, supernatural payments, entities that give money. The search results felt surreal, glowing on the screen in his shaking hands. Most of it was folklore, fantasy, obvious fiction. But buried in a forum for paranormal experiences, 3 pages deep in search results, he found a thread that made his blood run cold. "Has anyone else experienced the provider?" the post began. Marcus's throat tightened, his vision tunneled. He forced himself to keep reading. "It started with small amounts of money. Then it started taking care of everything. Now I can't leave. Every time I try, I get sick. Violently sick, like my body knows I'm supposed to be here. It's been 3 years. I think it's changing me. I think I'm becoming part of the apartment. Sometimes I can't tell where I end and the walls begin." The post was 7 years old. No follow-up, no resolution. The user's account showed no activity since that single post. Marcus scrolled through the replies. Most were skeptical. Dismissive. "Sounds like carbon monoxide poisoning. You need a psychiatrist. Cool creative writing, bro." But 3 other people claimed similar experiences. One described finding money for 2 years before trying to move out. The moving truck had crashed on the way to their new place. Every piece of furniture destroyed. Everything they owned gone. They'd gone back to the old apartment, never left again. "I tried," the post ended. "I really tried, but it won't let me go, and I don't think I want to anymore." Another had tried to burn the money. Their entire building had caught fire. 6 units destroyed, families displaced, 3 people hospitalized for smoke inhalation. But their apartment, untouched. They'd stood in the parking lot, wrapped in a blanket, watching firefighters battle the blaze, watching neighbors evacuate, some still in pajamas, some carrying children, and their unit had stayed pristine. Perfect. Safe. "I went back inside," they wrote. "What else could I do? It saved me, it wanted me, and everything else burned, but I was safe. I was chosen." The last reply was from someone claiming to be a researcher. "These are known as provider entities," the post read. "They are parasitic in nature, bonding to individuals experiencing severe financial stress. The entity feeds on something. We're not sure what. Gratitude, maybe, or dependence, or the slow erosion of free will. Once bonded, separation becomes nearly impossible. The host's biology adapts, changes. Leaving causes severe physical distress, cardiac arrest in some cases, organ failure in others. I'm documenting cases for a paper. If you're experiencing this, please contact me. Please, we need to understand this." The contact information was dead, the account inactive for 6 years. Marcus's coffee had gone cold in his hands. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and rust. The colors looked wrong, too bright, too vivid, like his eyes had adjusted to the perfect, unchanging light of his apartment and couldn't handle the real world anymore. He should go home. He had work tomorrow. His apartment was warm and safe and waiting. The thought made him want to vomit. He slept in his car that night, parked under a streetlight in a 24-hour grocery store lot, security cameras everywhere, safe, public, real. Every muscle in his body ached. Not from the awkward position, deeper than that. Like his bones were wrong. His head pounded, pressure building behind his eyes. By 3 a.m., he was shaking so badly he could barely hold his phone. His skin felt too tight, too small, like something underneath was trying to push through. Withdrawal, he thought dimly, like a junkie without a fix. 3:47 a.m., his vision started to blur. Double! The streetlight above fractured into pieces. 4:02 a.m. His heart skipped, stuttered, stopped for 3 full seconds. He counted them. 1, 2, 3. Then it kicked back in, too fast, arrhythmic. 4:17 a.m. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think, every cell in his body screaming at him to go back, go home, go back where it's safe and warm and perfect. He drove. The apartment welcomed him back. The door unlocked smoothly, the key sliding in like it was meant to, like it wanted to. The interior warm, perfect, exactly 72 degrees. The money was gone from his bed, tucked away somewhere, or maybe absorbed back into whatever had created it. Everything was clean, pristine. Fresh coffee sat in the pot, still hot. The smell filled the apartment. Rich and perfect and exactly how he liked it. Marcus stood in the center of his living room and felt the truth settle over him like a shroud. He couldn't leave. The next morning, he called in sick to work. Then he started testing the boundaries. He could make it to the end of the hallway before the nausea started. A slow roll in his stomach, saliva flooding his mouth, down to the building's entrance before his vision swam, colors bleeding together, edges losing definition. To his car before his hands started trembling. Fine tremors at first, then worse. His fingers twitching uncontrollably. 3 blocks away before his heart began beating irregularly, skipping, stuttering in his chest, like it forgot the rhythm, like it was learning a new one. 4 blocks and he blacked out behind the wheel. He came to in his apartment, tucked into bed. Sheets pulled up to his chin, a glass of water on the nightstand, condensation beating on the outside. Still cold, still fresh. Marcus lay there, staring at the ceiling, at the water stain that looked like a reaching hand. And he tried not to scream, tried to keep the sound locked in his throat, because if he started screaming, he might never stop. Days blurred together. He stopped going to work, called in sick once, twice, 3 times. The concerned calls became angry voicemails, then silence. His boss stopped calling, HR stopped calling. The world outside forgot he existed. It didn't matter. Money appeared faster now, in larger amounts. $2,000 in the bathroom cabinet, $5,000 under the kitchen sink. His bank account filled with deposits he couldn't explain. Bills paid themselves. The numbers in his account growing and growing and growing. The breathing sounds were constant now, not just at night, always. A slow, satisfied rhythm that seemed to come from the walls themselves, from the floor, from the ceiling, from everywhere and nowhere. Like the apartment itself was breathing. Like it had lungs he couldn't see. And Marcus was changing. It started small, easy to ignore. He stopped feeling hungry at normal times. His stomach would rumble exactly when food appeared in the kitchen. Never before, never after. Like his body was synchronizing, adapting. His sleep cycle adjusted to match the apartment's rhythm. He'd wake at odd hours, 2:17 a.m., 5:33 a.m. Times that should feel wrong, but didn't. He'd feel compelled to sit in specific spots, to touch certain walls, to press his palm flat against the plaster and feel the warmth beneath, feel something responding to his touch. His skin started to look different. Marcus spent hours in front of the bathroom mirror, watching, documenting, his skin paler, almost translucent in certain lights. He could see his veins through it. Dark highways beneath the surface. But the pattern was wrong. Veins didn't branch like that, didn't curve and spiral and create designs that looked almost decorative, almost intentional. He pressed his fingers into his forearm. The skin felt papery, thin, like tissue, like it might tear if he pressed too hard. Marcus tried to destroy the apartment, took a hammer to the walls, swung with everything he had. The impact jarred his arms, his shoulders. The hammer bounced off, not a dent, not a mark, like hitting concrete. But he knew the walls were just drywall. He'd seen them when he moved in. Standard construction, cheap material. His arms ached for days afterward, deep, bone-level pain. He tried to set a fire, lit a match. The flame wouldn't catch, just fizzled out. He tried another. Another. The entire book. Nothing. His lighter clicked uselessly. Sparks, but no flame. Just clicking. Clicking? Clicking in the silence. He tried to call for help. Dialed 911. The call connected to static. White noise that resolved into a sound like breathing. He hung up, tried again. Dead air. Tried his old boss. Wrong number. Tried the landlord. The line rang and rang and rang. No voicemail, no answer, just ringing. The apartment was protecting itself, and it was protecting him too, in its way. On the 37th day, he'd started counting, scratching marks into the back of his closet door with a kitchen knife where he hoped it wouldn't notice. Marcus found something new. A door. It had always been there. The closet in his bedroom. But now it seemed different, deeper than before. The space inside stretching back into shadows that shouldn't exist in his 4th-floor studio apartment. Shadows that looked thick, solid, like they had weight. The breathing sounds came from inside, louder there, clearer, like standing next to someone sleeping. That intimate sound of air moving through lungs. In, out, in, out. Marcus stood at the threshold, his hand on the doorknob, cool metal against his palm. He could feel it humming, vibrating with something. a frequency just below hearing. It made his teeth ache. He felt the weight of a choice he'd already made, had made the moment he'd spent that first $300, had made every time he'd accepted the comfort, the safety, the relief of not being poor anymore. He opened the door. The space beyond wasn't a closet. It was vast, impossibly vast, stretching into darkness that seemed to pulse with its own rhythm. His closet, his tiny studio closet, opened into something that couldn't exist, a space that defied physics, defied reality. And in that darkness, something waited. He could feel it before he saw it. Pressure in his chest, a weight in the air. The temperature dropped, not cold exactly, just wrong. Like the warmth had been pulled out of existence, leaving nothing behind. Something huge, something patient, something satisfied? Marcus's flashlight beam cut through the dark, caught edges, suggestions of form. His breath came in short gasps. Pale tendrils, thick as his wrist, thicker. They covered the walls that shouldn't exist. The floor, the ceiling, growing, spreading, they looked like roots, like veins, like something between organic and not. The surface glistened, wet, pulsing with movement too slow to see, but too present to ignore. Some of them led back toward him. Marcus followed them with the flashlight beam, watched them wind across the floor, up the walls, through the doorframe, into his apartment, into his space, into him. He looked down, his hands, the veins beneath his translucent skin, those dark, decorative patterns. They weren't his veins anymore, hadn't been for weeks. They connected to the tendrils, flowing from them, or into them. He couldn't tell which. The provider! It didn't speak, didn't need to. Marcus understood. A wave of comprehension crashed over him, not words. Deeper than words, older than language. Knowledge pressing into his brain like fingers into soft clay, reshaping him. It had found him when he was desperate, when he was vulnerable, when he would have accepted anything to escape the grinding poverty that had defined his existence. The empty cupboards, the disconnection notices, the shame of being 26 and having nothing. Being nothing. It had made him comfortable, made him dependent, and now it had made him part of itself. He could feel it in his veins now, that slow measured breathing, could feel his heart adjusting to match its rhythm, lub-dub, too slow, too steady, not human anymore. Could feel his thoughts beginning to align with its alien contentment, its satisfaction, its endless, patient hunger. Marcus tried to step back. His legs wouldn't obey, wouldn't move. Connected to something beneath the floor, roots or tendrils or both, he pulled. Nothing, stuck fast. The tendrils pulsed, rippling movement running down their length, and money appeared at his feet, more than before, stacks and stacks of it, rising like a tide, $100 bills layering over his shoes, his ankles. No. The word came out as a whisper, no strength behind it, no conviction. The breathing intensified. Pleased. So pleased. The sound filled the space, echoing off walls that shouldn't exist, growing louder, faster, like excitement, like joy. His apartment had never been his. He'd been the apartment's all along. Marcus felt his knees buckle, felt himself sinking into the money, into the darkness, into the thing that had claimed him, the bills soft beneath him, supporting him, cradling him, his vision blurred, colors bleeding into gray, into black. The edges of his consciousness began to fray, and in that moment, he understood the others. The forum posts, the people who'd never followed up, never escaped. They were still in their apartments, still being cared for, still breathing in rhythm with the things that owned them. Still grateful, in some terrible way, to never be poor again. The door closed. Slow, deliberate, the mechanism clicking into place, final. The apartment was quiet. The refrigerator hummed. The faucet dripped. Drip, drip, drip. And somewhere in the darkness of the closet, something breathed steadily, contentedly, feeding on the gratitude of a man who'd traded his freedom for comfort and found the price was everything else. Marcus didn't leave his apartment again. Neighbors eventually noticed, or rather they stopped noticing. The man in 4B became a vague memory. Then less than that. Did someone used to live there? Was it Marcus? Mark? Michael? The details slipped away. The landlord found the rent paid automatically, consistently, in cash. left in an envelope under the door on the first of every month. No complaints, no maintenance requests, no problems. Sometimes, late at night, other residents heard breathing through the walls, slow and satisfied. But it was an old building. Old buildings made strange sounds. Pipes, settling foundations, wind in the gaps. Nothing to worry about. And really, it was none of their business. In the apartment, Marcus sat in his favorite chair, the one that had appeared exactly when he'd started wishing for comfortable furniture. Soft leather, perfect back support, just right. His skin had taken on the texture of paper, thin and translucent. Veins like dark highways beneath the surface, pulsing with a rhythm that wasn't quite his own. Wasn't quite anything's. Something between, something merged. He was comfortable, he was safe, he was fed and warm and provided for. He was home. And in the closet, in the vast darkness that shouldn't exist, the provider grew stronger, tendrils spreading through the walls, seeking, always seeking, testing boundaries, finding spaces. The building was old, full of desperate people, full of those who would accept comfort, who would take the money, who would make the same choice Marcus had made. The breathing sound spread to other apartments. 4A first, then 4C, 3B. Small amounts at first, just enough to help. $100 tucked into a coat pocket, $200 in a drawer, just enough to make someone think they'd forgotten it was there, just enough to make them use it, just enough to hook. The provider was patient. It had all the time in the world, and there were so many people who needed what it offered. So many people tired of being poor, tired of struggling, tired of choosing between food and rent, between medicine and heat, between survival and dignity. It would take care of them all. The building settled into a new rhythm, quiet, content, fed, and Marcus, what was left of him, sat in his chair and stared at the walls and breathed in perfect synchronization with the thing that had saved him from poverty by making him into something else entirely. He couldn't remember what it felt like to be cold anymore, or hungry. The memory was there somewhere, distant and abstract, like something that happened to someone else, or afraid. He couldn't remember what it felt like to be human, but he wasn't poor. And in the end, wasn't that what mattered? The provider thought so. He could feel its contentment, its satisfaction, pulsing through the veins they now shared. And somewhere buried deep, Marcus agreed. The breathing continued. In, out, forever.